Hello, everybody. It is Coach Megan from Get Fit New Hampshire. Today, we are going to talk about the 6 key habits to lose fat, improve performance, and feel better for good. But first, before we do that, we need to talk about your brain. It's important to understand that your brain is not just a static, inflexible organ. It can change and it can be rewired. This is actually known as neuroplasticity. Your brain creates neural pathways all the time. The thoughts and the actions that we repeat over and over each day make up these pathways. They make them stronger, and sometimes they make them weaker if we're not giving them any attention. And with consistent intention, we create new neural pathways. When we create new neural pathways, there's a mental, that says metal, but that's okay. We create a mental resistance and natural discomfort. This is why we have setbacks. You have to smooth out your path before just tiptoeing in the long, weedy grass again. It's that consistent repetition, and this takes an immense amount of mental energy. So, how can you create new neural pathways? Number one, I would suggest setting one small intention every single day. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how big or how small, you're rebuilding the trust between your habits and your actions and rewiring your brain to prove that you can and you will do what you say you're going to do. Daily affirmations. These are going to feel a little bit awkward and maybe a little strange, maybe a little silly at first, but affirmations are truly proven to work. They represent the beginning of a new belief. Whether you say them out loud or in your head is totally up to you. And like I said, you might feel a little silly or awkward at first, but remember, you do have the power to rewrite the story and rewire your brain. But effort is required. And stop searching for the next best thing. Stay consistent with healthy and sustainable habits. That is the key to success. So, a lot of our nutrition struggles don't actually have to do with the kitchen and what we put on our plate. Most of us know what we should be eating and what we should not be eating, and what's going to support our goals and what is not. So, it's really just retraining our brain and our mindset and allowing ourselves to create these new neural pathways and just, that's the science of it, but truly actually doing the work to get it done. So that's enough about the brain, but you have to understand that if you're someone who starts and stops programs, like you try CrossFit, or you're like, no, I'm gonna be a runner, I'm gonna do just cardio, or you lose and gain weight over and over through different programs like keto, paleo, carnivore, etc. Like you just keep trying different programs, then you're gonna continue to struggle until you recreate that pathway. Consistency is always the key to results, point blank, period. So that's important to know. So let's talk about now the 6 key habits to losing fat, improving performance, and feeling better. This is going to be followed by a bonus fat loss checklist at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. So, number 1 is cognitive restraint. What does that mean? All results require some form of sacrifice. The good news is that you get to choose the method. There are so many different ways to lose fat and feel better, and all of them involve some form of calorie deficit. And calorie deficit is the answer to losing fat. The healthiest option is going to vary person to person, but the caloric deficit is just simply the science of losing fat. It's important that you choose your method and you stick with it 80 to 90% of the time. So even if you're following a plan 80 to 90% of the time, let's play pretend that you eat 21 meals in a week. If you eat 21 meals in a week, that's 3 times a day. So that is, at 80%, that means that 5 of your meals could be completely off track. And at 90%, that means that 2 of your meals or 1.5 of your meals could be completely off track. So it is possible. It's important to understand that there are 3,500 calories in just 1 pound of fat. So if your goal is to lose 1 pound of fat each week, then we need to cut our specific caloric intake by 500 calories per day. Your specific caloric intake is not going to be the same as your friend, your spouse, your neighbor, your coach, your buddy at the gym. It's going to be specific to you as a person and what your lifestyle looks like. One of the ways you can find out that information is by doing a STIKU scan. We will be able to tell you what your basal metabolic rate is, what your expenditure is, and how many calories you should be consuming. So 500 calories times 7 days a week is 3,500 calories, and that's why we can burn 1 pound of fat. If you are not consistently losing 1 pound a week or 1 pound of fat a week, then we got to look at your caloric intake, because unless you have an underlying hormonal challenge, then it is likely that you are over consuming. So here's some common cognitive restraints. Number 1 is keto. That's like your low carb, your high fat. Number 2 is paleo, intermittent fasting, macros, tracking. These are all methods, but keep it consistent and measure your results. None of these things are wrong. None of these things are right. And these are going to fit for different people depending on that person and their lifestyle. Sustainability is key. So don't just try a program because it worked for somebody else. You have to think about your lifestyle and how it's going to work for you. But let me tell you the common thing that all of these have together, or the thing that these all have in common, is that you're in a caloric deficit in every single one of these. You're being mindful, and awareness precedes change every single time. So I want to do a quick little note on intermittent fasting, because this is a pretty common question for us. Should I be doing intermittent fasting? Is it beneficial? Will it help me lose fat? So the short answer is yes, it will help you lose fat. However, I want you to consider, again, your lifestyle and your caloric intake. So whether you're having your caloric intake between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 p.m. or 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. or 8 a.m. and 9 p.m., if you are getting the same amount of calories during those two windows, your results will be the same. The reason why intermittent fasting works for some people is because if they're putting their timeline of, say, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., then really what they're doing is they're cutting out that after dinner snacking. They're cutting out any of those extra calories. They're consuming the same amount of calories in a shorter period of time. So it doesn't matter if you shorten up that window or you stretch out that window. If you are in a caloric deficit, your results will be the same. It does not matter what time you consume those calories. So number 2, self-monitoring. Again, some form of measurement is required to validate your results. You get to choose your measuring tool. None of these are right, none of these are wrong, and they're not going to be the same from person to person. You have to find what works for you, what makes sense for your lifestyle. Some people track calories, like Dylan. Dylan swears by tracking calories. Ashley, she swears by tracking her macros. MyFitnessPal, food pictures, portion plates, they have those scale, like a food scale, doing the Staiku scan. How do you know if your plan is working? You have to give it a solid 4 to 6 weeks of consistent and honest effort before making a judgment. So a lot of times after week 1, after week 2, we get frustrated, like, oh, this isn't working for me. I haven't seen any result. Consistency is the key to results before you make a judgment, because you might find that your first 2 weeks, you might be eating more than you're used to. So maybe you'll see the scale go in the wrong direction, right? But if it continues to go up over the 4 to 6 weeks, then perhaps you want to put some red flags up. However, don't just quit after 2 weeks. Give it the full 4 to 6 weeks to see if your plan is working. Try to avoid setting goals that involve eat less, eat more, drink less. So a lot of times, for example, when we do our milestone weigh-in, we hear clients say, I'm going to eat less sugar. I'm going to eat more protein. I'm going to drink less alcohol. I'm going to drink more water. Those are pretty common things we hear from clients, but I want to challenge you to be way more specific in your goal setting. So if I came up and I said, hey, Susie, have you had more water this week? You would like kind of probably think about it. I think so. But if I said, Susie, have you had 64 ounces of water every day this week? That's way more specific, and that's a pretty honest yes or no question. So SMART goals are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant to your goal, and they are time bound. So again, 4 to 6 weeks being a time bound goal. Number 3 is regular exercise. If you're watching this video, it's pretty likely that you are already doing this. But let's talk about why, right? Let's validate why we are in a regular exercise program or we're regularly exercising. Maintaining plus building lean muscle means that you're going to improve your metabolism. When you improve your metabolism, you burn more calories at rest. That's right, when you're sitting on the couch, when you're driving in the car, when you're sleeping in your bed. You burn more calories, and burning more calories at rest equals a lean body. Strength and conditioning is the secret sauce to youth and banging bodies. Be consistent in your training and move more outside of the gym. So you notice I didn't say train more outside of the gym. I said move more outside of the gym, because 4 days a week for 50 minutes is likely not enough movement to reach your dream goal. So things like walking, hiking, biking, swim, just move more altogether. If you train 2 or 3 days a week, even more important that you are moving your body more often to get your desired result. Getting your steps in. 10,000 steps a day is a fantastic way to add to your overall result. So again, strength training, building lean muscle, getting stronger, burning more calories at rest. Cardio is great. It improves your cardiovascular health, helps you get faster and more powerful, and it burns mad calories in the session. But let's talk about this real quick, because I often hear people say, I need to lose weight, I need to do more cardio. So let me tell you why strength training is on top and cardio is second. That's because, again, strength training, when you tap into those muscle fibers and they have to recover from a training session, they have to rebuild, it costs your body calories to rebuild those muscles. When you do cardio, say run on the treadmill or the elliptical or the bike or whatever, and you're just going all out, you're burning calories in the moment. However, your body, once it comes back to its normal metabolic resting rate, your calories are done burning. What you've burned in that session is what you've burned. So the magic of strength training is that you burn in the session and you continue to burn throughout your recovery days. And that doesn't mean that you have to be sore all the time. Intentional movement is not only therapeutic, but it burns calories in the time. So again, getting your steps in. Recovery, if you're fueling your body to recover after strength training, then you're going to burn more calories at rest because your muscles are going to be getting the fuel that they need. Number 4 is a structured program. So congratulations, a lot of you are already in this. So let's talk about this. Information is not enough. In fact, the information is accessible, and it has made health and fitness more confusing than ever, right? We Google the action steps we need to take to get our result, and it comes up with 50,000 different ways to get there. But obesity trends are still on the increase every year, even though the information is right there in front of us. So turning this information into integration is key. Results-driven people have structure. They plan, they prepare, they prep, or they have a consistent routine that has led to success. So especially those of you who are training with us, think about how consistent you are in your training. You are dedicated. You get here 2, 3, 4 times a week consistently. You have adopted this into your lifestyle. You've made time. You've created the time. And it's important that we figure out how to do that same thing from a nutrition standpoint and from a lifestyle standpoint. Because, as I said before, I said obesity trends increase every year. And, disease, all these things, these health-related issues that are driven by, what we eat, how we live our life. It's a chronic lifestyle disease that is out there, and we have the power to, pull the reins in on that. So number 5 is set meaningful goals. So this one is, I want you guys to actually put some thought into this. Maybe take a picture of this slide. When is the last time you actually took a pencil to paper and wrote down your goal? I'm not talking about in your phone. I'm not talking about saying it to somebody else. I'm not talking about posting it on Facebook. I mean, actually taking a journal and a pencil and writing down, what is your goal? What does success look like to you? And not what society wants, not what you think you should have, what somebody else thinks you should have. What does Megan want for her? What does success look like? And when's the last time you wrote out what needs to change in your life to reach those goals? Who do you have to become? What needs to change to get to that goal? And what does that person dominate? What are you really, really good at? And what can you lean into to continue to get results? It sounds corny, yeah, sure, but when you write it down, it becomes very real. And when you plan it out and set habits and action steps, it becomes achievable. And when you share it with others, it is game on. Setting goals is like creating a budget for your body instead of your bank account. Doing the work kind of sucks, but the payoff is worth $1 million. Number 6 is social support. Your environment and the people you surround yourself with regularly will have a massive impact on your results. How often are you eating out or grabbing drinks with the girls, getting takeout, getting beers with the dudes? Share your goals and your progress. Ask for support. How much power are you giving to the others in your life? Are they controlling your results? Positive reinforcement and environment will help drive your results. So a lot of times we just expect people to know, or we don't want them to know. We want to just like be invited to the things. And so we don't communicate what our goal is. So communicate that with others and maybe bring other people along for the ride with you if that helps you stay accountable. And maybe, you can find other ways to support each other that aren't going out for drinks, maybe go out for, I don't know, salad. No, go out for something else that is, just a healthier choice. So, quick note though, before I get into the fat loss checklist, this is really, really important. Especially, I spoke about being in a caloric deficit to burn fat or lose fat and get results. If you are a grazer or a snacker, research shows that could lead to eating an extra 500 to 700 calories per day without even knowing it. So I'm going to challenge you to track your food for like a week. Not like anything crazy, just paper, pencil, note card, whatever. You will be amazed if you track all the bites that you have and what that adds up to. So I'm actually in the middle of doing this right now. I have a note card and I'm just resetting every day. I'm not keeping the note card. I'm just tracking how many calories it is that I just ate and how much protein is in what I eat. So, and I'm just sort of setting a goal to hit, for me, my goal is to hit 1,700 calories and 150 grams of protein, which is challenging. So, for example, I'll give you an example of right now. It is Tuesday, February 27th at 1:30 p.m. I am already at 1,300 calories for the day, which means I only have 400 calories left, and it's only 1:30. That is going to be quite the challenge. I have to be very mindful of what I have for dinner this evening, while also working towards getting the last, I think I have another 45 grams of protein to make sure that I hit. So, writing it down just brings that awareness and that mindfulness, and awareness precedes change every single time and twice on Sundays. So don't be a victim. Are you the person, this is going to sting a little bit, be careful. Are you a person who puts out cheese and crackers before dinner? Or how about chips and salsa before dinner? Are you eating a small dinner before dinner because you're snacking along as you are making your dinner? Because that could be the exact reason why you are not getting the results that you want to get, because you're not even noticing that you are consuming those calories, right? They're just there, or you're just grazing along the way. It's true that, those 500 to 700 calories will add up quickly, and it will be the exact reason why you won't be getting the results that you want. So be careful again of those after dinner treats, right? Of course, we can treat ourselves every now and then, but again, it is all about how often are you having that after dinner treat, or what is the caloric intake of that after dinner treat? Can we cut that back to be within reason to hit your caloric deficit? And again, I already said it, mindless grazing and snacking. You choose your environment. Are you creating the environment that you need to lose fat? Are you making your own self a victim by putting out cheese and crackers and chips and salsa and having a small dinner before dinner? Because if you are, don't be so silly. All right, so let's talk about our fat loss checklist. Number 1, plan, prepare, and cook. Random plan equals random results, team. Stop winging it. And if you don't have time, delegate. There's so many different ways to do that. So there's NutriMeals, right? NutriMeals is the meal prep service that we work with in the gym. I use them. I love them. I use them as a supplement, okay? Those are my lunches primarily. Sometimes if there's like really good menu and I get extras, I do them for breakfast and lunch. Instacart. If you don't have time to go to the grocery store, or if you're very tempted, then use Hannaford Delivery, Hannaford Pickup, Instacart for Market Basket, whatever it is. I have not been to the grocery store in like a year because I use Hannaford Delivery. I live in Ware. They deliver to Ware. It's the best thing in the whole world. If you haven't used it, it's worth the $10 service fee because you're not putting all the extra stuff in your cart. And you're saving on time, which time is money. Go team. All right, crock pot. Okay, so if you are somebody who's like, I don't want to do Instacart, I don't want to do Nutri-Meals, then do your crock pot. Create some crock pot meals, throw them in the freezer, and then you'll just have, you just throw them in the crock pot, go to work, come back, house smells amazing, and eat a healthy meal. Google healthy crock pot recipes, and you will be amazed at the number of things that come up. And stop saying that it's too expensive to eat healthy. Because if you pay for takeout or drinks every weekend, then you have money. What you don't have is priorities. Ooh, I know, that burns a little bit. Let me say it again. If you pay for takeout or drinks every weekend, you do have money. What you don't have is priorities. Keep that in mind. Track and measure in some form. There are so many different ways to track and measure. There's MyFitnessPal. You can take food pictures. You can use portion plates. So I pictured some to the side here. These are just from Amazon, like telling you what should be on your plate, how much of it should be there, using a food scale, doing a food log we've already talked about. Track and measure in some form if your goal is to get very serious about losing fat. Eat mainly whole and unprocessed foods. So why? They're lower in calories, they're more filling, they fulfill more micronutrients and macronutrients, and they have fantastic fiber. Prioritize protein every single meal. Every single meal. 100% of your meals should have protein. That includes your snacks. So, Megan, how much protein should I be eating? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. We recommend 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So let's talk about that. I weigh 160 pounds. Now you know. My target is 128 grams to 160 grams of protein per day. If I am crushing souls, then I'm closer to that 160. I told you earlier that my goal is actually 150. So, I'm always more than 128. 128 is like the bare absolute minimum. Okay. So do that little math equation for yourself. And I want you to stop saying that's too much protein, that's so much food, because did you know that in 1 gram of protein, there are only 4 calories? So if my goal is between 128 to 160 grams of protein per day, that is between 512 and 640 calories per day. So that is not too much food. Okay? Keep that in mind. And if you care, I'm going to tell you, maybe you don't care. You're going to listen anyways. In 1 gram of carbs, there are also 4 calories. In 1 gram of fat, there are 9 calories. So, things to be mindful of. Drink water and eliminate calorie drinks. Those calories count. Your Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, extra sugar, extra cream. That's right, I'm talking to you. Your Pepsi, yep, that counts. If you're shooting to be in a caloric deficit to lose fat, then this will hinder your results. I'm not saying don't have the iced coffee, but let me tell you how you can have it in a different form. You could, and I know this from experience, you could get a black iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, put it in a shaker bottle, and put a scoop of cookies and cream ultimate which is the protein powder that we carry. Shake it up. Tastes amazing, and it's only 120 calories, and it's 20 grams of protein. It's delicious. It's one of my favorite summertime treats because that's the only time that I drink coffee personally. However, there are other ways to eat your coffee. If you would like to eat your coffee, that's fine too. But if you would like to drink your coffee, just be mindful of the calories that are in that drink and if it is having an impact on your results. I'm not saying don't have it. I'm just saying to be mindful of it, because if those drinks have calories, then you need to add that to the bottom line. Eat your vegetables. You are not 5 years old. Figure out what you like and cook them in different ways. Supplement as you need to. There are so many different lines. Juice Plus is a solid brand, and so are Athletic Greens. I am currently working with a supplement company to create our own greens that don't taste like garbage. So if you're somebody who's not getting enough veggies in, you can supplement. But if you are eating veggies, I want you to aim for 4 to 6 servings of vegetables per day. That's 2 cupped handfuls. Okay? About 2 cup handfuls per serving. Okay? And I'm talking like super cupped. Okay? All right. Eat mindfully, 80% full. How do I do that, Megan? I'm so glad you asked. Slow down. Put your fork down between bites. Set a timer for 15 minutes and try to make it last. Have you ever been to a restaurant and left the restaurant just barely being able to stand up, being like, oh my God, I ate so much. I feel terrible. Same. It's not a very good feeling. That's what we call overindulging, team. So if you feel that feeling more often than not, especially if you're going out or even leaving the dinner table, it's time to slow down, put the fork down between bites and set a timer and slow down and really listen to your body and see how it feels. So there you have it. That's 6 key habits to lose fat, improve performance, and feel better for good. And 7 action steps you can put into play today. I forgot one, and I'm going to tell you in a minute. But remember, be patient and practice. Be mindful. Be consistent. Rewire your brain. Change your habits and push through the resistance. Know that resistance is normal. Our brain likes to be in a safe, protective state. So when we are challenging it and we're doing something new, it is normal for our brain to say, I don't want to play. You have to push through that and keep going. We have to create those new neural pathways to get the results. And I want to back up real quick to this one because I have a lot of people that also ask me about alcohol. And so there's a few things about alcohol. Number one, those are caloric drinks, right? There are calories in alcohol. Beer has more calories than liquor, sure. However, I recommend that if your goal is to lose fat, that you limit alcohol as much as possible, maybe down to once a week at most. So let's talk about why. Aside from just from a caloric standpoint, I want to talk about it from just like a fat burning standpoint, because there's a lot of things out there that say, oh, I can have 1 glass of red wine a night and it's going to be healthy for my heart. Well, perhaps. I'm not a cardiovascular doctor by any means. However, what I do know about alcohol is that when we drink alcohol, it shuts down our fat burning process because our body says, there's a toxin inside my body, and so therefore I need to flush it out. And in order to flush it out, it needs to put all of its energy into flushing it out. Therefore, it shuts off your ability to burn fat until that alcohol is out of your system. That's science. You can Google it if you wish. So maybe from a cardiovascular standpoint, sure, I don't know that. I don't necessarily believe that for 1 single millisecond. However, I want you to be mindful of that. And I also don't want you to think that I sit over here and live a sober life, because I don't. I enjoy margaritas and I love tacos. So you bet your bottom dollar that I drink from time to time. But I want you to be mindful of how often that's happening and understand that those calories count too. And they are high in calories, whether you're drinking beer or cocktails or wine or whatever. Those calories count, and it is affecting your ability to burn fat. So, team, I hope that this was helpful today. And if you have any questions, I invite you to shoot me an email. I'll go all the way back to the beginning where you can see my contact information and our website. If you have questions, I am happy to help. We will be offering challenges in the coming future, so make sure you are on the lookout. Pay attention to our social media, GetFitNH on Facebook and GetFitNH on Instagram. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and let's connect soon.